Last time on Off the Track, we met Ron O'Regan, the former Kiwi Rugby League international. But now it's time to move from the sports field to the racetrack. Let's find out a little bit more about the man who's made this place, the Manukau Sports Bowl, his second home.
So this is when it all started for us back in the 97, 98. There's Naomi, my son Jackson, myself, and that's Lincoln's sister. She never won one, but she got lots of placings.
First dog. Tell me about it and how many wins you did had when you came back training.
Okay, our first win took a while. We were sort of battling away. We had a couple of dogs, and I was lucky enough to be friends with Terry and Mary Knight from Henderson, and Terry was one of the gun trainers of the time, and they had a dog that was coming to the end of it for them called Split Loyalty, and they said take him on. He said he's had a bit of a heart deficit, he got a bit crook there one time, and he said try not to race him over anything further than 500 and he should go all right for you. And I said, oh yeah, cool. So we got him home and that, and we've done our road walking and beach work and all that, and he kept running on in races at Manukau, and we sort of didn't know. We did know, but we didn't know. And anyway, there was a 6:20 or 6:30 at Cambridge, a Class O 6:30, so we stuck him in that. He wouldn't believe it. The commentator, Peter Reilly, Pit Stop Bale was in it, and he said, it was Pit Stop Bale, Split Loyalty, and he said he dived and he dived and he got there, and that was our first win.
And racing, bouncing up well the inside is Split Loyalty along with Pitstock Bell getting the 100 behind them as Sage 2 or 3 back. We go to Moringi Lad, that's followed out wider by Woodland Flyer. A length back the field, Tivoli, Tina Master, Seamus and Silk Dancer. Down the back they go and Split Loyalty chasing hard the bunny. Here comes Pitstock Bell, followed back there by Sage. Further back in the field is Woodland Flyer, followed round there by Moringi Lad, Tivoli, Tina. Rail there now for Master, Seamus and Silk Dancer. They swing for home. Split Loyalty, Pitstock Bale chasing hard down the outside. Still in front though is Split Loyalty. Pitstock Bale coming hard to the post. Split Loyalty, good on you, Roddy. Split Loyalty home there from Pitstock Bale. Then we go.
But then it took a while again to get another winner, and our next winner was a dog called Black Dante, and there was a chap over here called Kenny Haynes, and he was a good Australian trainer who come over here, and he was with Karen Walsh for a while, and they were training partners and that. And at that time I was learning to check a dog, but I needed this dog to be looked at because he should have been better than what he was, because his trials were good but racing bad, and he checked them and he found a sore spot somewhere, and he said, make sure you tell me when this dog starts. He said, I'll back him. He was back in Australia and he paid $28 his first win. So
you've had a few long odds winners, haven't you? You know?
Well,
you must pride yourself on that a little bit.
Well, the thing about it, Greg, we don't get a lot of money out of the game. We're 50-50 trainers, most of us, and the only way we really get an earn is have a punt. And when you know what you're doing, which a lot of people can say this and that, but when you know what you're doing, when you get winners and you get dogs on a roll, you know what you're doing. And I have a lot of fun downgrading a dog and then getting them right and then punting them. And there was one in particular when I actually had my hip support done, all of my hip done, and my wife and daughter were taking the dogs to Cambridge, and this dog called Strike Once, we got off the Van Maywins, Bob and Dallas.
They've been a big influence on your
A big influence on us, good people. Bob was a great trainer and a dog checker, and I used to go to Henderson all the time getting.
So he pretty much taught you how to become a checker?
Definitely.
Yeah.
He got to the stage where he said to me one day, in his surgery, you manipulate the dog and you check it in front of me. But the very first time I ever went to Bob, I took a dog to him. He said, you wouldn't race that. You're not going to race that, are you? I said, what do you mean? He said, that dog looks terrible. So for me personally, that was a great start with Bob. So then he taught me. And that was it. I was away. But then I kept going back every week with the same dog, and it kept looking better and better. And he said, you can't keep doing this. I said, what? He said, keep coming to Auckland from Pyro. It's costing you too much. You check that dog in front of me, then I want you to manipulate its back, and then I'm going to let you go. You're going to do it yourself. So I did it, did a pretty good job. And
you've been self-taught since?
Yeah, not too bad, but I'm learning. And I tell you what, the other guy I've really learned from, like I've learnt things. Lynn Early was awesome too.
Yep.
Lynn Early was a fantastic trainer and a great
Yep.
person, and she helped me as well. Blackie, here's the voice. Here we go. Oh.
Hey.
First thing we do, we like to wipe their mouths. Everyone likes to have a fresh feeling mouth, so we just give them a bit of rub over here. Clean their eyes. You know, what we've got to do is make them feel as good as we like to feel.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to sit down in the kennel and a little bit of pampering like this, hey, makes everyone feel good. And that's what we offer our dogs, a lot of attention like that. So
Just a bit of TLC.
yeah, yeah, and you know, like anyone likes a little bit of TLC.
Yeah.
You know, we all do. Even the hardest men I know like a little bit of love and all that. But I'll check old Blackie over now. That's his kennel name, Obstellaris. He's not that happy about it all the time. They don't like getting pushed and prodded, but you know, that's
He's only got one favourite day, and that's
race
race day.
day.
Yeah.
But
Hates anything more than he talks.
He just lifts. He's just an athlete, is he? Is that what you're telling me, Ron?
yeah, no, he lives for that Sunday.
Yeah.
So we're just checking his neck and that, and then first thing we do is check his toes, make sure he's got no split webs or any infections in the quicks. Then we give him a quick check of his wrists. That's good. Another one we'll just check over.
And what, just feeling for a bit of heat or anything like that?
Heat
or anything
any,
different?
Yeah, any infections or anything like that.
Yep.
You can pick up the toes are pretty sound. The wrists are pretty much important thing because that's the steering wheel. So we've got to make sure there. Then we sort of bring them up here, and then first thing you check is in here. Well, if they're sore anywhere around here, they're not going to ping. They won't leave the traps like you want them. Then behind the shoulders, down the blades, over the top here. And then we just go down here because this is the main. And if he pulls away, you know he's not right.
Yep.
And we've had a bit of trouble with Blackie. We were a bit concerned there one time. He got pushed into the fence by Belcroft Banker, real big, like bang, you know, and hit the rail, and he ran last, you know, and that wasn't in his thing. And then we checked him over, or Joan at the track checked him as well as I did. 2 weeks later, we lined him up, and he was 8th again, and that just doesn't happen. So he's very sore here. He pulled up very sore in the pectorals, up and under here, his chest muscles. And he's always been a bit tender since, but he seems pretty right now. So that's his pectoral muscles. They won't stretch out if they're sore in here. This is obviously the outboard motor, we call it. And
The real power.
this is where it comes from. And, you know, the hip supports and all that, we want to make sure that down his whip muscles, he gets a bit tender in this left-hand side here. And we make sure we're always lasering in here. Well, you've got to remember this dog's getting 4-year-old. He's had 60-odd starts. Then back here down his calves and his gracilis muscles. He seems pretty sound. And then the old hocks, basic check. You can see how I did that. He's ready to lift that one up. Watch this. He just lifted
Yeah,
up himself. So because if they hold it up and it goes out like that and down, he's not got
He's
a
not
problem,
right.
you know what
Yep.
I mean? But he's pretty sound in that department. But I'm pretty happy with him. He hasn't moved around too much. And he'll be ready
He's
to go.
just happy that's done on picking.
Yeah, I know. He's happy. He
He's
wants
like,
to get
is that it?
Yeah.
Off the top they come and block it for O'Regan. The run coming Lucky James. In behind there, Red Dot Special, Ginger Liv, Opawa, Valicet, Fushidara, Wee Meredith, Midnight Daydream. They come for home and Blocker still kicks. Down the outside comes Lucky James. Blocker all the way, Lucky James. Then we go here now to, we've got to Red Dot Special.
And this is Little Blocker.
Ginger Liv.
This is the little girl we're talking about. She won the New Zealand Racing Series for us, and she's done a good job so far. She won 3 in a row, and she trialled real good going into the first one, and we thought she'd go pretty well, and then we got the box draw and we got the one, and she opened up paying 23s. So
Yeah.
we got a little bit off that, and then she went on and won a heat of the New Zealand Racing Series, and then she went on and won the final. So that was a huge buzz for us.
You talk about your dad checking the dogs.
Yep.
So what are your early memories of who did he learn that off? Because it's not something that would come naturally, or does it with him?
Oh, well, not initially. Like, he learnt back in the day, we were always at Bob and Dallas, Van Maywins, or Lynn Early. They were his two biggest teachers, and they taught him a lot. But they told him when we were very young, you got to start doing this yourself. You can't keep coming back here every week, because we're in Pyro and we couldn't drive to Henderson every week. So Dad learnt, and he took it on board, and, you know, he's learnt here and there off lots of good trainers. Brendan Cole, Dennis and David, they've always helped him, so no, he's learnt. But we're individuals. We like to keep to ourselves, so we do most of our work, and he does most of the work by himself.
Do you check anyone else's dogs? Is it?
Wow.
If they ask, would you?
Well,
I
I have done it. Ian
Yeah.
George, I've helped Ian out.
Yep.
Dennis and Pam and,
Yep.
and David, you know, we checked dogs together.
Yep.
You know, when I was over there, and that was a great.
So you
learning.
worked over there, didn't you, for a year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, a couple. No, I've worked on and off there for a few years.
Okay.
Yeah, and checking dogs and.
Yep.
Yeah, and we were a great team when we were on fire there. You know, like it was good, and we were punting them, and we were having lots of fun. You know, like I say, but yeah. So Bob taught me and that, and then I started putting it into practice, and then the results started coming. I was getting dogs off people that couldn't run.
Yep.
For them because of whatever, overdone or whatever, but we rejuvenated them, walked them on the road, took them to the beach, lots of pats, lots of love and care, kept them warm and checked them.
Because you're an animal lover.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You haven't met Elvis and Dexter yet. You know, they're in the room. You know, they're pretty unsociable, but I mean, and I've got a guard dog out there, old Murphy, and Rascal. No, we love animals.
Pyro, not just famous for L&P, eh? Famous for the O'Regans.
Yeah, well, we've sort of stayed under the radar in Pyro. People, they know we're here. But when my parents moved here about 10 years ago, I used to say, oh, don't say anything because no one really knows us. They just know us as the people with the greyhounds and the guy that's walking down the road with the greyhounds. And then my parents and my sister that moved down here 10 years ago, they know the whole town.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, so they sort of like brought us more into the town, even though the girls are at school, but the girls are part of Pyro.
Yeah.
But I've always sort of said to them, you're born in Auckland and
Yeah.
you're Aucklanders.
Yeah.
Like I'm an Aucklander.
Yeah.
I'd never go back and live in Auckland.
But you're an Aucklander.
I still love Auckland.
Yeah.
When the kids went to school, and I coached the netball team, and the kids all used to call me Mrs. O'Regan. And I'd say, oh yeah, I'll take that, but I wasn't Mrs. O'Regan. And I used to say, are you ever going to marry me? And he'd say, oh, one day when I get some money, when we're rich, when I crack it, yeah. So this particular day he said, oh, I think, you know, it's time to get married. And I said, oh yeah, we haven't cracked it yet. And he said, oh, I think we're going to have a good week. And I said, all right. So in that week we had Almost a Dancer win. And then Oh My Man was a pup that we bred, and he won that week. And then he said, you know, we'll get married. So I rang up the registration office in Thames to book us a wedding. And he said, oh no, we should go back to Tat and invite a few people. And I was like, oh, well, we haven't seen anyone for like 7 years. And he said, that doesn't matter. So within a week, we were married. And we had invited our friends from up in Auckland and went up there and got married on the Friday. And this particular day, we had a Oh My Lady in pup. And she had to come in pup that day.
Right.
But it was her third litter, so I was confident to leave her.
Yep.
Because we did have to go and get married. So we got married at my mum's in Te Atatu with a celebrant and shot up there, got married, had all our friends come that we hadn't seen for years, and it was a good turnout. It was actually a beautiful day. And then say goodbye and come back and check on the pups.
Yeah, life goes on.
And when we got back, there was 11 puppies,
Right.
and they were outside in the shed, and I hadn't put up any heating, so what I did is I brought the whole lot into the bedroom with the whelping box and the bitch and all the puppies and
Life and greyhounds, eh?
life and greyhounds, yeah.
This is Naomi here, my training partner. Naomi there on the right-hand side, and her sister Kirsty. They always used to run down to the dais every time we got a placing, and they sort of started a trend. You know, a lot of other kids started going in after.
Why the dogs, and how did this come about? What was school like for you?
I always, because we've been in it since I was 2, and the dogs was just a natural thing for me. Could be myself with dogs. Like, I was a shy kid. I'm still shy to this day. So being around the dogs and at the races, I was in my zone. School didn't see eye to eye. Didn't really like going too much. But as soon as I could get a day off or go to the races, I would. On a Thursday, we used to always race at Cambridge on a night. So Friday was an automatic day off. So had to recover. Win, lose or draw, you had to take it all in. So school wasn't for me. But the dogs definitely just wasn't like, it was home. Like, go down the back, it's a lifestyle, get to do it with your 2 best mates. It's awesome. And the animals themselves are just incredible. Like, they're just not a normal dog. They've got different personalities, and they're just so laid back and easy to work with, and they work with you if we work with them. So they give as much as I can give them. So they're awesome animals.
So tell me about your training regime and how you develop that. You do a lot of walking, which is not the norm, particularly these days.
Well, it's very old school training. Everyone in Aussie and England had a greyhound and they walked them. But then they come up with this system of running pens and galloping, which is cool, and which we did out the back here. But from me as an athlete, myself, a footballer, the most important thing you have going into any football game or race is to be sound. Because if you're not sound, you come off the field and someone said, you didn't play very well today. You can't turn around and say, I had a bad hammy. It's up to you to get that hammy right before you play. So that's what I put into our dogs once I learned what I was doing. Our best punting dog we've had in this property was Exciting Dream.
Yep.
Little dog we got off Bobby Bond. And he was the same, Bobby punted her too.
Yeah.
One day we were here and she downgraded from class 3 to class 2, and she drew the 1. And on the Thursday morning I said to Naomi, I said, go and get the fixed odds on Exciting Dream, and she come back and she said she's paying 12s, Dad. I said, that'll do us.
Yep.
Rest is history. The only thing that spoilt that day, we were coming back through Ngatea and we had no rego or tail lights on the trailer. And we're coming home with about 4.5K in the pocket, plus the stake money, and we get the old stop. But in those days, we had a Regan Racing on the back of the trailer.
Right.
So the old copper's waiting for us because he reckoned people were ringing up, because we're just so happy. You
Yeah,
know? We're
yeah,
just driving down. The pockets are loaded. She's talking cell phones, and everything. So we cracked it. And next minute we pulled up by this copper. And he said, how's your night going? I said, good until I saw you, because I knew what was going to happen. We're going to get the book thrown at us.
Yeah.
He said, how'd you go? I said, good. We got a couple of winners and got a nice little return on one of them. And he said, and he saw the name on the trailer, O'Regan.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is going to get him into trouble or not, but he said, you're not the ex-Kiwi, are you? I said, I am. He said, mate, I used to go to every Carlo Park every Sunday with my dad, and I used to watch you. I said, mate, that's awesome. He said, I can't give you a ticket.
Did you keep talking?
Yeah, he said, I can't give you a ticket, away you go. So it was one of the best nights of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got away with the punt.
The old name got you.
And the old copper got me
job.
through. Yeah, so, yeah, amazing. This is our feed shed and our checking shed. Right, these are the dinners are all been weighed up and everything, and that's just a basic greyhound feed. That's a racing feed because she's been nominated, and that's one that's not racing but a chicken in it.
So what's in it, mate?
There's beef, kibble, chicken, and a few vitamins. Yeah, that's basic, and that's But that's weighed up, and that's why I can sort of look at a dog knowing...
And know what they weigh.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Let's talk about your training and how you go about it. So you walk the dogs, how far is that?
Well, 300 metre dogs, we usually walk about 3.5k.
Yep.
But when we start getting them over 500, we're at least 5k.
Yep.
Yeah, so... and that's every second day.
Yep.
I used to
So what do
walk-
they do in the days in between?
Oh, they just trot around, and
Yeah.
they don't do a lot.
Yeah.
I believe once a dog's fit, race fit, they're fit.
Yeah.
And, you hear of the other good trainers and the horse trainers. I've heard them say, haven't done a lot with them this week.
Yep.
And just you got to
Because you don't weigh them, you do it. It's all by the eye.
do it by the eye. I'm lucky there. I've just learnt that. But my girls, my wife and daughter, they feed well. They weigh all the food and that.
Yes.
So you can't really go wrong. I give them the biscuits at night.
Yep.
And it's surprising, one Tux biscuit can be a lot of difference in their weight.
Yeah. Right.
But I mean, yeah, if you look at our dog weights, I'm usually 0.3, 0.1, 0.2
Yeah.
out, so yeah, I've sort
It's a
of,
pretty good skill.
yeah, not too bad. Yeah, no, I enjoy that. I pride myself on the way they weigh and how they look. I like to turn my dogs out good. I don't believe in taking a dog out in public unless they're looking, some you can't get 100% because of the nature of the dog. They're hyperactive and all that, and they knock themselves around. But most of our dogs we turn out look pretty good, and I enjoy that.
Why is your dad so good around the dogs? What's his greatest attributes, and why has he had the success that prior to you getting into partnership, and obviously in partnership now?
He's just a dogman, like always been a dogman. He's a natural, he's got an eye for it. Like, we don't own scales, we don't do anything. He is self-taught most of his things, and he's just a natural dogman. Like, the things he's taught me is, like, I'll just take through the rest of my career. He's got a lot of patience he's very hyper and energetic, but he's got a lot of patience and he's caring. So that with the dogs helps a lot, and he's just got this eye for it, and I don't know how to explain it. He'll see a dog and I'll be like, what are you doing, bring that home? And he'll be like, I'll turn it around, and he's done it heaps of times, and we've always just backed him because he's just done it and always proved us right.
A big change in the training came about when the decision was made for him to go into partnership with Naomi. What do you remember of that, and has it reinvigorated Ron in terms of the greyhound racing scene?
Yeah, definitely. Well, Naomi's loved the greyhounds. Always didn't go to school, went to the greyhounds, having a merry holiday. And it was always been her comfortable place. So when she was at the greyhounds, she was always a different girl than she was at home going to school. That was her domain, and she's just carried on with it. And I'm really proud that how she is, because at school she was very shy and timid, and then she'd go to the track and she's out there.
Yeah.
So it was she was
two
like
different people.
two people.
Yeah. Can you remember when it was decided that you two would go into partnership? Who asked who?
I asked Dad, because I left school. I went to year 13, and then I went, and then all my friends were like, what are you doing like with your life? Because I was just, the kennel hand, and I was just like, I'm over this question. So about into the 2012-13 season, I think it was, I go to Dad, come on, chuck my name on there. I need a bit of recognition. And he was like, okay. But then I had my own dog, I had Only K, and I was like, oh, maybe I should just go in my own name and get it out there. But then the Stipes and the association encouraged me to go in partnership with Dad because he has a good name out there. So I did that, and, haven't looked back.
First season, 2012-13, 70 or 71 winners?
Yeah, we had a good season that year, 70.
That's a pretty fair way to start.
Yeah, we had a 50 odd at Manukau, which we've never cracked the 50 at Manukau, and we had 20 odd at Cambridge. We don't really race much at Cambridge, so it was massive. We had a huge year that year. We still had the likes of Bright Conquest, and he might have been retired actually. Surfing Owl, we had Ali's Girl. We had a good team around us, and it was massive, and it was enjoyable. But yeah, it was a great year to get involved in.
First winner as the partnership. You remember that one pretty
well?
Yeah,
I remember that one. I didn't get to handle it. Dad went out there, but I soon grabbed him off the lure. Lockie's Call. He was from the 5 track. We had 3 in the race. We had Shelf, Big Time Drifter, and Lockie's Call. And no, he was from the 5 trap, and he could run that dog, and he jumped on the bunny, and yeah, I remember screaming him home, and it was awesome.
And racing slow away there would have been big time Drifter Charlie's Funds. Early speed going the way here of Mega Upload. Lockie's call with the up there as well. Then we go to Shelf trying to kick round the outside. There is Statney up Charlie's Funds. That's followed down the inside of runners. Rando Reason a long way from them now. Opar with Sasha on the corner out wide, and Lockie's got to the lead. Lockie's calling here. Mega Upload. Then we go to Shelf followed there by
Just hit the ground running.
Oh, mate,
70 odd winners in the first season.
mate, she was just like, it gave me a lift.
Yeah.
I was doing it all the walking on my own and that.
Yep.
Next minute she's out there 16, 17, 18 or whatever she was. She's out there walking dogs, and I said, just hold on. She started checking dogs and all that, you know. And I said, just hold on.
Woo.
Yeah, just hold on, you know, like, but mate, I couldn't ask for anything better.
Awesome, yeah.
And then she was lucky because she got a run at Scully's on her own too.
Right.
And she went over there, and she, you know, she was handling their good dogs, and yeah, so yeah, no, she just evolved, and if she keeps her feet on the ground, and which she does, and keeps
I'm
grounded.
picking you might keep her grounded.
I keep her very grounded, and you know, like she's been noticed because there's a syndicate of guys out there that want to buy her an expensive dog right now.
Right.
Because I've told her she's got a couple of kennels here, and
Yep.
you go for it. You go, girl, and you do it.
So in 5 or 6 seasons, you've had 250 odd winners together. I mean, it couldn't have really started better, could it?
Well, not really, Greg, because as you can see, we haven't got a big property,
Yep.
and we can only have a certain amount of dogs. And
So how many do you have in work?
well, we've only got
Or in
sort
the
of,
kennel?
well, we've got 19.
Yeah.
We've got 19. We've had up to 30, but that's overloaded.
Yes.
You know, that's
Yeah.
with my hips and that. It was getting a little bit unrealistic, and Mum was saying we've got too many. And
Yep.
because what you don't see, you see the winners, but you don't see the ones eating all the food.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
we cut back, and we done a breeding program with Dennis and that, and it's worked out okay. Plus a couple of Aussie imports, but I mean, yeah, that it's worked out good.
And since then, you're close to 250 wins or thereabouts as a partnership, so you must be pleased with that.
Yeah, stoked. Like, we don't realise, because we do race a lot of dogs, and we don't take in on what we do until, like, recently we've looked back and said, we've actually gone all right, like,
Yeah.
but because we do race heaps of dogs, and we only really sometimes, like the public, see the losers.
Yep.
And then we come home and we take for granted the winners or the placings and that. But no, it's been massive. And I've not only in the last 6 years doing the partnership, I've also helped other kennels, which has been awesome and helped me. I know what I want in dogs and how far I want to be. And hopefully me and Dad get to that stage. Like, we got a bit of like Group 1 success this year, and it was awesome. That's where we want to be.
Greg, you're on obstinate.
So what do we do here, Ronnie? What's our go?
Well, goes hook left,
Yep.
and let's just go.
And how far are we walking here?
Oh, we'll probably go 3.5k today.
Yep.
You know,
Beautiful.
so here we go.
And what about the locals around this sort of area? They obviously know what you do. Are they pretty fair out on the road?
Oh no, we're real fair, Greg. We what we do is we share the road. The cockies use it between 5 and sort of 8, and then we come out with our dogs between 8 and 10:30.
Walking all the time, is it? Does
Well-
it toughen their feet up?
Well, that's a good question, because the thing about it, when we get a new dog, this dog here's just come from Australia 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
He goes up the first day he gets here.
Right.
He gets off the plane.
Yep.
Has an empty.
Yep.
I put him on the road straight away.
Yep.
Lead. I put him on the road straight away.
Yep.
But he won't go again for 3 more days.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Then I'll go again, and he'll
Yep.
go again,
Yep.
and then I'll go 2 days later.
Yep.
but it'll be only the corner and back, which is about a kilometre.
Right, so you build them
I
into
build it up. It'll be
Yep.
2 weeks before he does 3K.
Right.
Right, so the feet, once the feet, the pads harden,
Yep.
and this is only a learning curve for me because, you know, when I was mad and 36 and I first started,
Yeah.
I get them out every day.
Yeah, right.
You know, I was overdoing, I was getting sore feet. And,
Yeah.
But for anyone out there, young fellas that are learning,
Yeah.
this walking of the road cuts down your toe problems.
Right.
And I got told that from the old schoolers.
Yeah.
You won't have a lot of toe problems by road walking. You'll still get other injuries, of course.
Yep.
But it hardens the toes.
Yeah, right.
And that's one of the most important things.
Yeah. So when they talk about blowing out a toe and that sort of thing, you don't have that often.
Not often. We get
No.
a few.
Yeah.
We've had about 2 or 3 over the last 10 years.
Right.
That's not too
So
bad.
that's not
yeah,
many.
we've had,
Yeah.
still get our wrist problems, our gracilis,
Yep.
our hock strains and that. But that even cuts back the hock strains in the wrist because, as you can see, they're just trotting along and, you know, they're loving it.
You see him with the dogs
Yeah.
and how he knows that they need a really good base
Yeah.
foundation,
Conditioning,
training-wise.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he initially when we got into dogs, he had that stint with the dogs when he was younger, but we're still learning. We're still learning today, but
Yeah.
back then he was learning and he tried all sorts of things to train a dog.
Yeah.
And now, after training a winner, you sort of stick to what you know and how you got the winner, and it seems to work for him. And his
Well,
is,
it's happened over 500 times now, or
Yeah.
probably closer to 600, so
Yeah.
he must have something formulaic
well,
working.
his biggest thing is the conditioning of the dog. Like, and I've always said, when we get a new dog here, it's a automatic pre-season training, 6 weeks, road walking, conditioning, and then we go from there, getting them happy, getting them sound. So, and all that, I see, like Ron said, it might have helped him with his league career, the injuries, and then getting them, maintaining them, and getting them right, and then his body might not be so bad as it is today.
So it's getting a bit busier now, Greg, but I mean, this is the main, not a main road, but
Yeah.
a lot of traffic goes through here, the thing, but yeah.
Is this a good time to do it, though?
Yeah. No.
Because I suppose the people that are going to work, and whether that means going to Auckland or Hamilton or wherever they're going, they're gone.
They're gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are
Yeah.
locals. These are local school buses and
Yeah.
a lot of, and the other thing is a lot of people stop and have a yak sometimes.
Right.
You know, and talk about the dogs and, you know, and there was
Have
a
a
lot
yak.
of, you know, if there's any like drama in the game, they stop and ask me about it if
Right.
I know the person
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. So
Yep.
I always give them my honest truth.
Yep.
You know, what I know about what's going on, but, and then they stop and say, oh, your dogs are beautiful. And I said,
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
they are.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
are, you know, and that
Yep.
makes me feel good too.
Yep.
So, oh, your dogs are in good condition, or how are you going? So yeah, so this is coming up the 3K mark, Greg.
Yep.
At 3.5, we
Spin around and head
yeah,
back.
we give them a good little pat and a cuddle, and
Make sure they feel good about
Blackie,
life.
watch Blackie, should wag
Blackie's-
his tail. Blackie, look, he wags his tail. Good
Yeah.
boy.
He's happy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Hey?
Hey. So he's.
So this is the dog at night. If you don't go and say good,
this is
night to
if
him.
I don't say good night,
he's dirty.
he's dirty. He'll just stand at the door.
Yeah.
He'll stand at his thing with his head through the thing,
Waiting.
waiting for us to go back.
You've had plenty of dogs that have won a stack of races. What are we talking? 10 or 15 dogs that probably won 10 to 15 races? Is that?
Well, I can't really say, but I know we had two here, like Sacred Can-U and Mr. Mumbles come from Aussie.
Yep.
And they were handy dogs. They won 40 races between them.
Yeah.
That's a lot of races.
Just about there, off. Getting away all right out wide there would have been Sacred Can-U. Inside we go to Stainless Knocker, Deceptive Lad whipping round the outside there. Mega Munchies, Corborn Eden, that pack. They're followed further back there by Frankincense, got a shuffle, and Deceptive Lad also got knocked back there. Off the top they come, Stainless Knocker inside, out wider there though, driving Sacred Can-U, Stainless Knocker. Then we go to Thrilling Forest, Mega Munchies.
We've had
followed
dogs
back there
here
by
like
just about ready. Further back
10 plus. You know, we've trained a lot of winners, Greg.
Yep.
On our system. We've come under the radar. Like, I don't think I'll ever get away from being the footballer,
Right.
the ex-footballer, the old broken down footballer, people, as some people like to say, you know, these days. But I mean, we're not too bad with a dog either. you know, and because I don't do things unless I'm reasonably good at it, like, yeah, and that's just the way
That's
I
just
am.
you.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Let's
I
talk
get-
about some of these good dogs. Obstinatus.
Oh, absolute star. Just puts in every week.
Winner of 14 odd races. Very
Yeah.
quick dog.
And out of those 14 races, there'd be another 40 placings there too.
Yeah.
Seconds and thirds.
Just puts in every time.
Yeah.
Lure comes round, ready. And racing, jumping best out wide here is Miss Shellac charging up now. There's the favourite Obstinatus, goes to the lead now from Miss Shellac. Also trying to get into it now is Gilson. It goes to third. Back in the field now we've got Willie Gasser gets a shuffle with Lloyd Attack. Back we go to hour and a half. Also back in the field to Wong Wei and Hanoi. They go for home. It's all Obstinatus. Runs away from Miss Shellac. Then we go to Gilson.
He got sent over here because in his first couple of races he pulled up an Aussie. And John Miles, the owner, he just rang us up and said, this dog could be anything if he switches on to the bunny. Well, there's only two things that dog likes doing. There's eating his food, or three actually, eating his food, sleeping and going to Manukau on a Sunday. Because people have said to me, why don't you take him to Cambridge? I don't think so. It's too open.
Yep.
He might get distracted.
Yep.
But at Manukau,
She's
and
she's closed in.
Closed in.
Yep.
He never touches the bunny unless he wins. He'll
Yep.
give it a bit of a nip.
Yep.
But just an absolute fantastic dog.
Career highlight, the railway.
Absolutely.
Group 1 runner, but you had 2 in it.
Had two, and had the
Qualified
sister
too.
as well.
Yeah.
He sent the sister over because she has been a little bit naughty over there. But
Mrs. Brown's.
Mrs. Brown's girl.
girl,
But
yeah.
she wasn't given a ticket or anything.
Yep.
It's quite funny that day because
You wanted to draw box 8, or I read somewhere, you wanted to
Oh.
draw box 8 with Obstinatus, and that's
Right.
exactly what you got.
oh mate, it was unbelievable because the TAB were doing they filmed the draw.
Yep.
And so anyway, Naomi gets called out, Mrs. Brown's girl. She pulls out the 4. Like, good on you, love. You know, like,
Yeah.
not going to say shit draw. I said, good on you, love.
Yep.
So anyway, but then it got down to Danny D and Obstinatus.
Hmm.
And it was the 6 and the 8. And being a punter, straight away,
I want the 8.
yeah, I want the 8. But I have to go, the 8's over there, the envelope's over there, and there's one here. So I just said, wide. I went wide, grabbed it, poof, got
8.
it, got the 8. Beautiful. But it was a long week,
Yeah.
I can tell you now.
Off we go, getting away middle of the pack here was Rosa T. Underneath them there is Alex Attack. They're followed up by Mrs. Brown's girl. Further back in transit there is Obstinatus. Back we go to Viking. She's a ripper no good. Then we go Danny D and Hypocritical. Off the top they come, and Rosa T for RH has kicked the top. And kicking away here is Rosa T. Gets home there from Alex Attack. Then we go here to Obstinatus, followed back there by Vikings. Further back still would have been She's
Got to
a
talk
Ripper,
about
followed there by Danny D.
Pretty tough time for you and the family, the loss of Obstinatus. Talk me through that day. This is a dog that not only got you a Group 1 starter, but Group 1 placing. So that's what you've been looking for so long, and to lose him must have been pretty hard.
It was, Greg, but I mean, you know, like at the time it was like devastated. You know, whether we carry on or whatever. But no, we got through that, and
The day itself must have been really
very
hard.
I sat in the stand, and people were sort of saying, "Oh, you know, it's a bad one and that," but they didn't actually. Well, they probably do know because they go through it themselves when they just lose any dog. You know, if you're a genuine greyhound trainer or a horse trainer, if you love your animals like we do, you feel it.
Yep.
You know, and we felt it. We probably didn't talk to each other for 2 days here, and then like we've kicked on.
Yep.
We've he helped us get recognised, I suppose, in a way. And we've had other people, like we've got Gary and Tracy Martin that have bought us 3 or 4 Aussie dogs recently, and other dogs that come to the kennel. So losing him, we've kicked on.
Yep.
So we're in a good position at the moment with dogs.
Yep. The rugby league field continues because Blocker got the business done, and
Yeah,
it's
it's
Class 5 dog now.
Class 5. Dennis Schofield and I decided to breed a litter, and to be honest with you, for any other breeders to listen to this story, she was absolutely the slowest out of all of them. There were 5 or 6 of them, and we thought she was just going to be a plugger. But as time went on, she's run a bit of time, and here she is winning a Class 4 the other day in Class 5, and we're so proud.
Yeah.
And it's funny that we know, you know, the old story with the old Blocker.
Yeah.
Me and Blocker had a few confrontations on the field, but I think he might be proud of that little girl.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
for sure.
that's awesome.
And off we go, getting away nicely there would have been Capailana, followed back there now by Harry Brown and Blocker moving the rail. There now is Paddy's Passion out wide the track. There we go, 2 bits already, bit of a shuffle here. 1 or 2 running off there. Capailana goes back and checking out Go All In. They come in and Blocker's found the lead now, trying to get underneath there now is Paddy's Passion, but Blocker, Paddy's Passion, then we go Stay Rich in a run.
You're sitting there with Rascal,
Yep.
Little Rascal, as we know, on race day.
Yep.
An incredible record.
Yes, she's been an awesome dog. Yep.
Yep, 22 wins and some pretty special ones as well.
Yeah, she was awesome to us. Our highlight was always to beat Bondi over the line with Bright Star. She did it 5 times, and I don't think an individual dog's done that, so she was awesome. She did it later in her career. See, she's a bit grey around the mask, but yeah, she was awesome. She gave us some thrills. I got sacked off her early on boxing her. She was always my girl, but Dad soon took over the reins, but it was always good to chase her down the straight at Manukau, and now she gave us some real good thrills.
And racing, getting away nicely here was Little Rascal and showing speed out wide the track. We go to You Know Lachlan down on the inside of Runners Stylish, Fancy Blue, Cosmic. Then we go back there now to Bright Star. That's followed there by Call Me Blue out the back door. As looks all good, Just Jordana on the corner and Little Rascal doing it nice. Here comes You Know Lachlan late. Little Rascal, You Know Lachlan. Then we go the way of
Little Rascal, you don't miss Little Rascal because on the couch.
Brendan was sending us a lot of dogs, Brendan Cole.
Yep.
And they were going good. Austin Wild, Lachlan Valley, Surfing Owl. And Brendan was looking after us. And
Yep.
he sent 2 or 3 up and sent Little Rascal. I looked at it and I went to Naomi. I said, "What's that?" And she said, "That's Little Rascal." I said, "You train this one. You can look after this one." So we couldn't get a start. The form line had gone off. That's why she sent him up. He got a bit field shy in the corners.
It won about 9 or 10 at Wanganui.
Yeah, got a little bit field shy. And anyway, she was a sweetheart, this dog. So we took her down to Cambridge, and she'd never raced at Manawatu and had little short legs, 22 kilo. And we said to Mike Austin, the stipe, and I said to Naomi, I didn't go. I said, because it was like a run for us, and I was getting ready for Manukau on the Sunday. I said, "Tell Mike Austin, don't worry if this dog's tailed off, she'll be fine. She's never been on the track in any way or anything." And I said, anyway, did she show some? She ran 4th, but she was giving it all the way up the straight. And I said to Naomi, I said, "Thanks, mate." And she said, "What?" I said, "I'll take over from here on," because she was still class 3.
Yep.
And we got to Manukau, it was the last race. And we had to go. She opened up paying 16s. And I went over to see Pete Fenimore. I don't mind giving Pete a tip because I used to give him
He's
a
a
lift
great
home.
man
Good.
and loves his greyhound.
Oh, great bloke.
Yeah.
Good guy. Good for the industry, Peter. Anyway, I said, Little Rascal in the last. And John Roberts, the president,
Yep.
evidently, sorry John, but evidently when I walked away, John said to Fenimore, "That can't win if it starts now." It's won by 6.
about there. Racing, Charlie's Fun's all right, bit of speed with that. There we go to Little Rascal, followed down on the inside of Runners Road to Vegas Junior. Calamity Free, they followed a little gap there to Bellburst. Off the track a little bit there. Calamity Free goes back a place or two, and a few getting shuffles here. Back there, Explosivosity, but on the corner and kicking away. Little Rascal will get you home. Second and Charlie's Fun's. Then we
got the 16s. Peter was happy.
Yep.
We're all happy, and then the rest is history. She beat Bright Star 5 times.
Yeah, like that.
That didn't happen.
No.
That didn't happen.
And racing, getting away nicely here is Little Rascal, showing a bit of speed. The inside, Cortez Flyer and Bright Star. They're followed in behind Runners there now by Festival Miss. Further back in Transit, there we go to Cosmic Pearl, dropping towards the tail of the field. Somebody Tiffy, and back there Winfield Winter. Off the top they come. Little Rascal trying hard along there. Outside there is Bright Star. Little Rascal, Bright Star, Cortez Flyer, Crackles.
How important is it who loads the dog in, and do they react differently to different handlers?
Well, I always like to say that I'm a better handler than everyone, but that's not the thing. But yeah, each dog reacts differently to a dog. Like, she would run for anyone, really. She just wanted to get in those traps and do it. But like Obstinatus out there, I don't think he would run for anyone else but Dad, because they've just got that bond. But other trainers have a different idea, because they let, you know, just any handler go out there with their dogs. But we like to do the work, so we do the work here. So my favourite dog at the moment is Blocker, so I do the work with her here. At the races, I get rewarded to take her out, and that's how it works. But, you know, each dog has their mate and that, but everyone has a different opinion.
Oh, let's talk about Bright
Oh,
Conquest. You
mate.
talk about dogs that have won races. 43 wins.
Unbelievable. Well, as we all know, he started off at the Scullies. And I walked over there. I actually got back to work just as he turned up. And the story goes with Danny, that's his kennel name. Dan Caddy, Alan Caddy's son, was working there.
Yep.
And he took him to the trials.
Former rugby league referee and
I coached him at Waitakere.
touch judge, of course, and State of Origin. I think he was a touchy, and yeah,
He's the only
terrific
referee-
fella.
Dan Caddy's the only referee I've seen carried off on a stretcher.
Right.
He was refereeing a few years ago at Mount Smart on a Monday night. You know when they had the Auckland play Canterbury.
Yeah.
Someone whooshed along the ground and broke his ankle.
Oof.
And I said to Naomi, "Oh, Dan's been carried off." She said, "Is he playing?" I said, "No, he's the referee." But anyway, getting back to Bright Conquest, and so David takes me down to the end where I was going to look after, and there was Micro Benny, Juddy, there was all these big red, those fantastic dogs, but I in particular looked at this big black and white dog. And I said to David, I said, "Gee, he's a nice looking dog." I said, "Oh," he said, "he trialled 22 seconds. I said, "What, at Cambridge?" He said, "No, Manukau." I said, "What happened?" He said, he come out of the boxes, he went to the rail, pissed on the rail, and then chased the bunny. I said, "That doesn't sound right." So anyway, he was down my end, and I took a liking to him straight away. And the neighbour had horses running up and down the paddock. Well, he kept chasing those. And I just let him do it. Just let him keep chasing them. So anyway, it got to the stage I had to hook him in because he was getting too, he was starting to hit the fence.
Yeah.
Brad Jackson and Craig Rendell, Craig wasn't in on him, but Brad was. And big punters, as we know. And Brad had Fancy Line in there as well. He had a share in Fancy Line in the very first start that I was working for Dennis and David. And he drew the 8, and I said to Brad, "You better have a few bob on Bright Conquest. I think he's going to go all right." He said, "Oh, he can't win. Fancy Line $1.70. He won all right. Won by about 6 lengths and paid $18.
Favourite the outer, Bright Conquest set now. Racing Bright Conquest out nicely here, try to show speed with it, nothing. Second now is Black Alley, the inside there we go, Super Deal, round the outside is Fancy Line, they're followed back here by Nuclear Power, Bullet Blue a long way from them, Black Alley drifts and Barramundi Flex, it's a one dog go.
Mate, we raced him till he was 6 years old.
Yep.
And he won his last race at 6.
Because he qualified for a Galaxy, he ran second.
He ran,
Pizza
yeah.
Girl, and Pizza Girl won it.
And
Yep.
that's when he was with
Yep.
Dennis.
Yes.
Dennis and
Yep.
Dave, and Curry was down there with him.
Yep.
But he was our boy, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
We loved him, you know,
Yeah.
but I mean, come back here and we really didn't back him at all because we just let him do his thing, you know?
Yep.
But there was one day there that Wayne Steele had a dog and Jerry Darcy had one, National Debt. And Wayne had a black dog and Danny was like 5.5. He's getting on, he was greyer than I am. You know, he was white and he was coming to the end of it and people were wondering when we were going to retire him.
Yep.
And he was a bit slow out and they turned for home and Wayne and Jerry were neck and neck. And then I seen the 5 rug hit the rail and they were screaming because we're very competitive. They're screaming their dogs. They said, "Hold the phone." And here he come along the rail and got them both.
Bang.
Yeah, so that was cool.
Big highlight.
Yeah, it's huge.
Bright Conquest away 2 or 3 early out wider. There we go to National Debt, followed down on the inside by Buzz Cafe and Winsome Light. Further back there now is Trendy Sun. Out wider there to Lochinvar Prince, the back door Simply Blessed, Witch Jasper on the corner. Round the outside goes National Debt. Rail still creeping there for Bright Conquest, who drives along the inside. National Debt, Bright Conquest, National Debt. Then we go to Trendy Sun.
He broke 21 seconds 10 times. 2077 was his best effort. That was massive back then. And I think he equaled 21 about 5 times, so amazing dog.
Terrific
and,
puppy.
Yeah, beautiful. We miss him.
Ron, tell me about some of the sporting people and getting involved in syndicates and that sort of thing, because there's a few keen, isn't there?
Yeah, well, there is a few keen, Greg, and we've never really, personally, I've never really wanted to put it out there because I'm quite happy to battle on. And
Here's the whānau, mate.
the whānau's here, the
Yep.
granddaughters. Maddie, you go and give Uncle Jack his dog. So we've never really put it out there to the fact that I push for owners or syndicate, but I think it's time
Yep.
for us to personally try and improve the quality of dog we're racing.
Yep.
With the Taste of Obstinatus getting into Group 1. And the only way you can do that
Yeah.
is purchase good dogs.
Yeah.
And it's like horse racing, you know, like Godolphin and Chris Waller, they go for the good stock.
Yeah.
And so that's what we'd like to do in the next few years. And I'd like to put it out there that anyone interested,
Get involved.
get involved.
Because it is user friendly. It's not as expensive as the other codes, but it can be just as enjoyable.
Well, you can get into one of our syndicates for $500, you know,
Yeah.
but you get a small percentage,
Yeah.
but a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And what I will say to people out there, if you do get involved in greyhound racing, don't expect to make a lot of money, but on a Sunday or a Thursday at Cambridge or a Sunday at Manukau, you
Have a whole
can't-
lot of fun.
You have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen people come there and they're just buzzing when they leave with their red ribbon. And it's not the money. And one of the better trainers has told me, when you get into dog racing, you get in it for the entertainment, not to go out there and make money unless you get a little mother or a bright conquest. But no, if anyone's out there is interested in joining the kennel, you can find our email or phone number on the websites of the Auckland Club or the New Zealand Racing Board.
Get involved.
Get involved, I believe it, you know. 50-50 training, you don't have to pay any training fees, you just put your purchase money up for your syndicate and then away you go, we do the rest. Awesome.
It seems a great environment for them.
Yeah.
You know, the quiet nature of where you're living and where the dogs are, they obviously thrive here.
Yeah, they do. They love it. And we're very hands-on. We're all about getting out there, brushing, grooming, playing. And then we on that 45-minute road walk where they're hands-on with us, we're talking to them. And people might think we're mad. We're walking up the road having little yarns to the dogs. But they're our mates. And it just gives them a new lease of life and a new lifestyle.
Does it give you a lifestyle though?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It gives me something to wake up for,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Because that's the type of guy I am.
Yep.
I've got to do something. I've got a lot of energy for a 58-year-old.
Yep.
You know, they say about getting old, but, you know, if you
You're only as old as you think you are.
that's right. You know, like, you know, and if anything happened and I was doing the dogs, I'd be okay with that,
Yeah.
you know.
Now, last time we were here, you were clearly in need of some vet work because the limp was quite pronounced. You've had that. You've been and seen the man with the knife.
Mate, I should have got it done years ago, but as you know, I had those concussions and I had that turn on the table that first 2010, so I was a bit dubious about getting it. But 12 weeks ago, 13 weeks ago, I went and got the job done, and lucky I did, because I don't think it would have lasted another 12 or 13 weeks because I went in there to get the procedure done and keep myself reasonably fit, walking the dogs and doing a few other things. But
So is that one or both you've had now?
I've had both hips
done now. Yep.
Yep, so I've had them both done, and the surgeon said, good work, Ron. He said, you keep yourself in reasonable shape, we'll be out of here in 45 minutes. 4.5 hours later, he's 2.5 hours later into the operation, he's given Curry a call and he said, oh, I'm a bit worried, because what happened was with all the walking of the dogs, the ball joint had started chewing into the pelvis.
Right.
And somehow it created, the bone chip was going off somewhere and created like a burr. You get on the back of a knife or something, and he had to grind that burr down to get the rod down there. So he had only had enough time to work with the anaesthetic and that, so a bit lucky, but hey, best thing I've ever done. But I'm only really second fiddle to Naomi now. Like when I was
Team's
away.
been firing since you've been away.
Yeah, and I'm really proud of her.
Yep,
I'll
she's doing a great job, isn't she?
Great
Yeah.
job, and since then she's sort of stepped up.
Yep.
And I'm sort of working with her now.
Yeah.
And I'm quite happy with that because she's learned obviously off some real good trainers.
Yeah.
Like she's been around a bit too herself, and like Scoey's and Harding and all that. So she's learned, and at her age now, she's ready to take the step up, which she has.
Who's in charge around here?
I am.
How do these two get on, Naomi
Oh,
and
they
Ron?
get on like a house on fire. They have their moments.
Yeah.
but it's kind of like them against me. If we do have a blue,
Yeah.
they gang up on Mum.
Right.
Only because I've got the upper hand, really.
You'd hold your own.
Yeah, I hold my own.
Who's in charge?
Oh, I like to be sometimes, but at the end of the day, Dad has the last say.
I'm pretty sure he'll tell me that it's Kerry who's in charge, though.
Oh yeah, we're a bit, yeah, you know, no comment.
Training partnership with your dad.
Yes.
That would be a challenge for some people. How's it been for you?
It's been amazing. Me and Dad are best mates. We've been best mates our whole life, so to be able to do it with him has been awesome. He's a great teacher.
It gets tough, but I'll tell you what, you just can't beat the excitement of winning a race, any type of race, a maiden or a class 5 or anything.
Yeah.
And if you don't, I don't think if you don't have that passion anymore,
Yeah.
I think it's time to get out.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you were asking me yesterday, what's the future for Ron O'Regan? It'll keep going as long as we're winning.
Keep winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.